Game Day Nation, what it do? It's your man 50 Grand, Wali Pitt, and I'm back after my hiatus, and I'm in the new, ain't even supposed to be in here yet, Game Day studio in Charlotte, North Carolina, but y'all know I had to catch up with my man, your favorite drum major's favorite drum major. He been running the NCCU sound machine. He did it for 3 straight years. I met dude, I thought he was a senior. Next year I came back, he was there again. Next year I came back, he was there again. So my man been running the sideline for a minute. My man Jayson Pender, JP, what's good with you, man?
What's going on, man? I'm happy to be here, man. It's an honor, a pleasure. I'm in the building with you, man. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Hey, and you know, when we met on the sideline, bro, I don't even remember how we met, but we linked. And this was 2017, 2018. I was like, bro, I'm going to bring you on. And I'm late. I'm about 4 years late, but we did it. We did it.
So, we all here, man. That's all that matters, man.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. So talk to me a little bit about, the National Battle of the Bands just released their bands. With you having been there, talk to me a little bit about, from a drum major perspective, what it's like going into that national stage of an event. You know what I mean? As a drum major for one of the best bands in the world, really.
Man, it's definitely a good feeling, man. You know, performing on such a big occasion and a huge stadium, NRG Stadium. You know, that's the home of the Houston Texans. So it's a real regulation NFL field, and just having, you know, the arena just packed with fans and everybody just got their eyes on you. It's definitely an eye-opening experience, but it's one of those once in a lifetime opportunities too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to go hard or you got to go home, like, because that might be your last chance to perform there. I know for me, you know, that was my senior year. That was my head drum major year. So I knew there wasn't going to be a season for me out there. So I was like, man, I gotta get loose. It's going to be my last one. I got to get loose.
And what's the preparation like? Because I feel like, you know, just from being somebody who shoots on the sideline, the preparation that the band does, a lot of people don't understand. I feel like they think y'all just go in and set the instruments up. What's the preparation like for you guys going into the National Battle of the Bands? Like, when do you start putting stuff together? When do you start practicing? And how do you practice while you practicing for everything else, you know?
Well, man, for something like that, you got to make sure that everybody's on the same page mentally, physically, you know, because, you know, we're from North Carolina, so our weather climate, it changes periodically, but it stays around, you know, a fairly decent climate where you don't really have to worry about getting too summer. But in Houston, it was a whole different kind of heat, you know, so we had definitely had to condition the band a whole different way that year than we had ever done before. We had to really practice with, like, get our bodies to music-wise. Of course, you know, we gotta, you know, stick to the book. We gotta make sure that we're staying true to ourselves, but we're also bringing a new kind of energy to a new kind of field. You know, especially, you know, with us being the only North Carolina band that year, we had to make sure that we were representing for our state. So we had to, you know, come in there with some P.D. Pablo, Raise Up. You know, we had to come in there playing Juice. That was our field show. You know, shout out to Lizzo. We also had to come in there playing a little Young Boy. You know, we had to come in there. We had to just say what it was, and tell everybody that we was there, man. So a lot of good preparation leads for a good performance.
And what's the battle component like? Because you know, it's kind of crazy because you guys are on the field separately. So to a fan perspective, it's a battle. But like, how do you approach the battle aspect? Do you research bands beforehand, see their weakness, and try to show out on them in one section or another? Just what's the how do you go at someone's neck in a battle of the bands, really?
Man, every real band head always does like that behind the scenes research on other bands. You know, like they'll go to YouTube and they'll check out some of the other bands, you know, clips of their stands and the tunes that they usually play, and then hear like, okay, their trumpets, they sound really good, so we got to make sure that, you know, our trumpets are up to par. Or man, those trombones, man, they sound solid together, man. We got to make sure that we cranking it up. You know, it's a lot of preparation that goes into the battle aspect too, but at the same time you also want to make sure that everybody's having fun. You know, you want to make sure that everybody's enjoying themselves too, because if you're so stern, you're so about everything, it'll just kind of take the fun out of it. That's like one half of it too. You know, it's passion, but it's also hard work. Put it together, I mean, can't nobody stop you.
Yeah. And as a drum major, like, talk to me about the responsibilities of a drum major, especially, you know, you're on the road. I understand that drum majors are almost kind of like, you know, assistant coaches in a way. Talk about being on the road and, you know, in an event like that where you're trying to have fun, but you also are really the responsible party trying to keep it all in line too. I can tell you got some stories you might not want to tell me while you're laughing.
Hey man, one thing I'll tell you for sure, every real drum major always knows like their way to work their band. And that's another thing too that, you know, is really important about being a drum major. You have to make sure that your band knows you and that you know your band, you know, so that when it does come time for, you know, us to take trips and stuff like that, you got to know how to communicate with your members, because you could say something in one way to one student that you couldn't say to another student in that same way. So you got to, you know, you got to understand how to talk to the people, but you also have to, you know, coach what you will, know when to have fun, when to be serious, you know, when to cut certain things off, when to start some things up, you know. Being a drum major, you're always expected to be perfect, but there's no way you can be perfect 100%. So you really just got to do what you think is best for the program, and, you know, align with the director's vision, honestly. And, you know, you always got to have fun. Being a drum major, if you're not having fun, it's going to feel like a chore, you know? So you got to definitely have some fun too, man.
This Eagle Stadium, baby. This Eagle Stadium.